Hey guys, thank you so much for tuning in for another episode of the Fulfilled and Fit Inspiring People interview series. I am so excited to have Justin of Ascend Wood with us today. You guys are going to be blown away by what he's doing and what God's doing through him, and I'm so excited to connect with him and have him share some of his stories. So, Justin, why don't you introduce yourself?
All right, so like Jesse said, I'm Justin Bubar. I currently live in Pickerington, Ohio, which is a little south of Columbus. Grew up in Cleveland, Ohio, went to Strongsville High School. Was born in New Hampshire, though, so I did a little traveling to get over to Cleveland. But now I'm down here and started this company, Ascend Wood, to help give back to those who need it most. Just to some organizations I've worked with through my church down here, and one specifically in Haiti and one in Kenya. And then we're also looking into local ministries, too, in the Columbus area.
That's awesome.
That's kind of like a gist of me and where we're kind of headed. So
that's so cool. And we're going to get to Ascend Wood, you guys, in just a couple minutes here. But before we dive into that, a lot of our viewers in the community are people who are either trying to strengthen their faith or are brand new to their faith, or are just trying to kind of dive in and discover it. And so, whether they were brought up in a household or brought up in an environment where, it was cultivating a faith-like belief or not. Tell us a little bit about your faith. Like, was it something you grew up with? Was it something you kind of grew into, or how did it all kind of begin for you?
Okay. So yeah, good question. So my mom was probably she was the head of the household spiritually. My dad lacked in the area until later in my life. But yeah, she was the one. She'd always drag us to church, whether we liked it or not. And really, I grew up in a Christian household, but I couldn't call myself a Christian. I didn't accept Jesus till I was a junior in high school. And then from there, junior, senior year was just like kind of just read verses, tried to read, like didn't really know where to start. My faith really kind of catapulted when I got to, I went to Capital University in Columbus, Ohio, and got a part of my first Bible study, went to the Vineyard Church down here, had some really awesome mentors on my football. I played football at Capital, and they took me under their wing, really taught me how to just kind of fall into my identity in Christ and to live from that and not from myself. Because I'd been living, we all live from, we want to be something else. We want to be like somebody else. And like Jesus says, no, like be who you are. I made you special and unique, and I want you to live from that. And I want you to become more of who you are. I don't want you to be anyone else. And like it's, I think there's a saying like, there's only one of you, and like you're a crappy somebody else.
That's
like,
so true. Yeah.
You can't be someone else. God made you unique. And so, yeah. And then I got to Grace Fellowship was my church down here in Pickerington, starting to lead young adult groups, 20-somethings. Still do that. I did a little Google Hangout, Bible studies in the meantime. And then I also do children's ministry now. And it's been awesome to see where God has taken me. I mean, I've been on since I've been down in Columbus. I've been on 3 mission trips, going to one next month to Puerto Rico with Athletes in Action.
Awesome.
It's been so awesome just when you really just let God take hold of your life and you buy into just what Jesus did for you and live from that, like live from the victory. Jesus won our souls, our hearts on the cross. And so you just live from that and just be obedient and prayerful and just read the word, and God will take you places.
I love that. There's so many things that I feel like I could pick out of what you just said that I would want to touch on. But one of the biggest things I know that I'm trying to work on continuously, and actually what both of my Bible studies are currently on with the women's groups that I'm in, is looking at the characters in the Bible who have like this all in faith, right? That they are all in. There's no question. There's no doubt. They, God says do this, and they're obedient, and loosening that grip, right? That control of your life and of you trying to think that your plan's better than his, right? And I really do think that is, I mean, it's hard to develop that. Was there a turning point for you? Because I know you, and I know, our viewers don't as much as I do, but something I admire about you is you do exemplify that all in faith. It's clear that you let your faith seep into all areas of your life. You don't separate things, and that you really are leading from your faith. Was there like a turning point for you, or would you say it's more of like something that you've just built consistently to get to the point?
Yeah, I would love to say that when you become a follower and a disciple, that it's like, oh, you're different. But that's not the way it works. Like,
Yeah.
you are justified by the cross, and then you're sanctified, and we're being sanctified until we die, and then we're eventually glorified.
Mm-hmm.
So we're in that sanctification process, and repentance, and trying to be obedient. And yeah, we still fall. Our face is hard sometimes. So I'd say, yeah, more like it's a gradual. You just let Jesus work in your heart. And I'm always praying, like in my prayers, like, God, continue to mold my heart. And sometimes that's hard, because if you think about God being a sculptor and us being clay,
Yeah.
We're all unique into what he ends up making. And sometimes that process of like kneading the clay and pushing it down and changing the shape,
It's not fun.
No, it's not fun. And we don't know like what the heck's he doing. And but it's ultimately for his purpose and his glory. So we can rest assured in like whatever we end up being, it's God. I mean, it's God ordained. It's what he meant for us, and we can rest in that. So yeah, I'd say really just throughout the years, just becoming more obedient, more prayerful. Read. Fellowship is huge. Something that like, that's why my junior and senior year in high school, I didn't go anywhere in my faith, because fellowship, I was just hanging out doing the same things I was always doing, but I call myself a Christian.
Mm-hmm.
Then I got I joined Athletes in Action in college and Crew on campus, and was around people, and you can, have Bible studies and learn more about Jesus and the Word. And so that is where the process works, and through prayer, and not prayer when you're praying over your meals. I'm talking about that prayer when you close your door at night and you're crying out to God. That's where he changes you and makes you. And so, yeah, that's just a little bit of, just some advice for anyone.
I love that.
Anyone in their own heart. It's like, yeah, you're not going to change overnight. You can accept Christ tonight, and you're not going to be any different tomorrow. Like, you may feel different. You might be on your Jesus high, which we call it, but it's going to be, it takes years. Think about Jesus. He didn't even do ministry until he was 30 years old. So even himself, he learned, if we read in the scriptures in the Gospels, he learned the Old Testament. He had to learn. He was still human too. People forget about the human side.
Right.
He still had to read. He knew how he had to know the word, and he still prayed. Like he did the same things we did. He just was, he's divine, and we're not.
Right.
So,
just a little different.
And there's a little bit, but he still had that, because now we're co-heirs. We're trying to become like Jesus. So in that, like, it doesn't happen overnight again. But it's an awesome thing. Just where I was 4 years ago, or even, since I was a junior high school, I'm a totally different person. Like, my friends that I'm still friends with that aren't believers, they like say to me like, "Hey man, you're just different." And it's not even a bad different. It's like, you're not that person anymore. And sometimes you don't even know that, like, it's happening. But it's encouraging to hear that from people on the outside. So yeah, that's just in a snippet. So
no, I love it. And you might have already answered the next question, but if you want to sum it up real quick before we move on to focusing on the cool stuff that you're doing, because I think you gave a lot of advice with what you just said, because it was all spot on and all awesome. But if you were to give one piece of advice to people who are just trying to build their faith, what is maybe one thing that you would say, if you can only do this one thing, this is going to really help you in your walk with Christ. This is going to help you develop that relationship. This is going to be able to steadily, build your faith. What would like that one thing be? If you could only pick one. I know there's a million.
Yeah. I'd say trust is big. Mm-hmm. Trust goes with everything. Trust allows you to look at the word and then say, this is truth.
Right.
Trust leads to prayer. Like, you're trusting and you're praying to someone you can't see, and knowing that he's going to answer some and he's not going to answer others, but he's hearing you. He listens.
Right.
And then just trust that with your fellowship. Like he's giving you the right people around you. You're praying for that. So like, I think it all starts with just trusting the Father, the one who made you. Just let go. And I mean, there's a let go and let God like slogan, right. But like that's true. You just have to let him work in your life. And sometimes it's hard because you're like, I want to do the old things I used to do. But you know what? It's so more fulfilling, and it truly will change you faster and if you let him take over your life. You know, we want to have the hold of the wheel.
Oh gosh,
we want him to drive our car. You know, we have a really expensive car. We're like, I don't want anyone to drive it. I just bought it.
Right.
But no, I mean, in reality, like Jesus bought your life and he bought everything you had. Like he gives you the money you have. Like this is, I'm kind of going to actual real thing now, but everything comes from the Father. All good things flow from him. And so just trust him and trust him that he knows what's best.
Yeah.
And that's the hardest thing. And the world's saying, go be independent. And the Father's saying, no, I depend on me. So you're taught from birth to be dependent. To be independent.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the Bible, and what God is all about is the opposite. So we're constantly swimming upstream, trying to trust in him. But there's so many promises in the Bible, and if you just read them, they're there. Like he's never going to leave us. He's never going to forsake us. He's always with us.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, those three things right there just allow me to trust him even more.
Right.
And that he loves us, and he gave his son for us. And that's how much he loves. I mean, giving his son for us, his only son to die for us. Why wouldn't you trust someone who gave up like that big of a thing for you? Like that right there should have gained your trust. So, I mean, I could pick a bunch of things, but I think it really starts with trust, and trust him and just see your life change.
Mm-hmm. It really is crazy, and I'm sure you have a million examples since you've been steadily on your walk. But even like for me, I've really struggled with giving up the hold on, you know, what I thought my plans were, or what I think I'm supposed to be doing, or you know, like I'm a go-getter, I'm a goal setter, like that's like my thing. I like that. I've always been like that. I have that ambitious flair where I'm like, I'm gonna do da-da-da-da-da, and all of a sudden God will strip you from what you think you can control and say, no, sit down, you're not doing that, that's not for you. And recently especially, I've really, like, that's been my main focus, has been turning that over and letting it go. And I can't even tell you, like, the craziest things that, you know, intertwine and you know, interrupt you and change your ways and change your heart and change kind of what you thought you were going to do. And it's so cool and it's crazy. It's so hard to give up that trust. But like, I love that you mentioned that that's, you know, the number one thing, because if they can just commit to that, I think it'll really help. So cool. All right. So now we get to kind of move on to the portion where we're going to talk about your business. So I'm going to let you introduce it. Give us, you know, I know you did a little brief one in the beginning, but a really quick snapshot of what it is. Maybe show us what it is. If you and then we'll go through a couple more questions about it.
Okay. So Ascend Wood. We started it with the idea in mind to just give back. Like, we didn't even want to make this for ourselves. I mean, we're giving away 40 to 50% of the profit right off the bat. And we keep our costs low so we can give more away. And so Ascend Wood, we just wanted to give, so each bracelet, so the type of wood there are. So there's 4 types of wood. So there's sandalwood, blackwood, Wengie wood, and empress wood. So, yeah, all different word names.
It sounds like wedgie.
But I'm learning about woods too. So the more I do my research and things, I'm like, we want cool wood that's quality wood, and that people like feel good about wearing, and like it's some cheesy, crappy Joanne fabric wood that you're like you paint.
What is this?
It's like, no, I mean, this is quality. We want people to feel good about giving back and looking good. I mean, at the end of the day, you're wearing it to, you know, you wear it as an accessory, and also it's something that gives back to people in need. So like, we've got some partners that we're working with, and one is in Haiti and one is in Kenya, and there's two ministries that we've both been to, my co-founder and I, and one's Shelter of Hope and one's Breathe. And then we're also looking into local Columbus. There's a Risen Sun, it's called. It's another partner of my church. It's the homeless ministry here. And so
awesome.
each wood is designed to profit one of them. So if you buy the sandalwood, it's going to Haiti. If you buy the Wenji wood, it's going to Kenya, like stuff like that.
Love it. Yeah.
So when you buy them, they give back. And so at the end of the month, is what we as Ascend Wood will be giving to those organizations. And after the cost and all that, we'll be giving to them. And that's our plan. To continue, and then eventually like branching out into other woods. Like we don't want to stop there. We want to continue to give and give as much as we can, and keep spreading the word. And through this, spreading the gospel and spreading. We're faith based, so it's going to take us places. I'm going to Indiana Wesleyan tomorrow. And I'm going to another city in Columbus on Saturday to sell these things and talk to people about our mission. So
awesome.
God has just been opening doors. Again, you trust him and you be faithful, and he's always faithful. So it's like, even when you're not faithful, he's faithful. You can't be mad about it. So yeah, that's what we are. So I'm wearing right now.
Yeah, let's see them.
This is a lighter wood. This is the Emperor wood. It's the lightest wood. And they come in crosses, white, black, brown, turquoise crosses right now.
Ooh, turquoise. Yeah. I didn't know there was a turquoise.
It's new. Yeah, so you'll probably get one of those. And then we have the Wenji wood. It's the little bit darker wood.
Very nice.
It's knotted. And then there's black wood. Actually, I have over here, which is just black. It's just
very cool.
And then we have our last one is sandalwood. Sandalwood actually smells amazing. It's actually how they make essential oils out of.
Oh wow, that's cool.
So it's like a green sandalwood. So if you can see it is but it smells amazing. And then the smell doesn't go away. So I have people like buy them and they're just like sniffing them all the time. So yeah, that's how we're kind of functioning right now.
Cool.
Word out. We're still very new. Been only selling for about a month now, but talked to so many people about it. Did this. I was at a coffee shop the other day and sold about 12 of them, like just talking to people. And
that's awesome.
So it's been awesome to see how our God's like just orchestrating this whole thing. He's engineering all of it. It's something that we think that can really do some damage for the kingdom.
Yeah.
Giving back. So that's kind of cool. The Ascend Wood in a nutshell. So
I love it. So how you mentioned obviously that you guys are giving back, and like from your point of view, I'd love to hear your standpoint and maybe why it was important for you guys to incorporate a service and give back element in your product. Like, how important is service to you? Obviously it's important, but like, I don't know if you want to expand on that at all, or why you guys chose to give to those certain places, even if you want to go that direction. But real quick, I'd love to just know that, and I'm sure our viewers would too.
Yeah. Just being, again, faith-based, and we're really just trying to exemplify Christ. And so underneath it all, we want to serve. We're made to serve. I have a shirt, made to serve shirt on. That's from my church. Like,
there you go.
Anyway, but like,
the service is very.
I know. That's not. I'm not plugging anything. That's just. But in Luke it says, Jesus came to seek and save the lost. He came to serve, not to be served. Mm-hmm. So we really just wanted to show that to others. We're like, we're young, and we like know that the need is out there for so many things, like whether it's hygiene, whether it's just food, shelter. People overseas and even in our own hometowns, you'll see people that need something, and they're essential needs. They're not just wants that we're like, I need it. I need a new iPhone. Like, no, they're things that like I have a shelter. I have food. I have a running toilet. I have, when I was over in Haiti, something that I missed, you don't need it, but I was like, ice. I missed ice. Everything like,
you wouldn't think of that.
Like having a cold drink. And it was like, you don't even think about those things.
Mm-mm.
But so we wanted to make this company to truly serve communities and serve globally, serve locally.
That's really cool.
And it was something that's like, remind people like, hey, you're wearing this, like, oh, it's Send Wood. Like, you can just talk about it right there. Like, oh, they give back to these ministries. They give back to local, global, all that. So like, that was the underlying, just to be servants of Christ, to be servants of others.
Yeah.
That's
what
we're about.
That's really cool. So was there a point in time, and I know you have a partner in it too, but where you felt like it was very clear to you that you were being called to do this, or that you were being called to this project? And if not, that's okay. I'm just curious if you felt like there was something that was clear to you that you thought, you know what, this is the direction I'm supposed to go right now.
Yeah. So there was another company that my friend had started, the apparel company, Outreach Apparel, and I was going to be a part of it, helping out. It just didn't work out. So I was like, for months I was like sitting back. I was like, this is awesome, and this is young people trying to change the world. And I was like, I'm young. Like, why don't I just do something different? Like, I didn't want to compete with them, so I went to bracelets. They're doing apparel. So I was like, all right, I went to a show with him to help out their booth, because like, he's a really good friend of mine and I love helping him out. A little craft show we went to in where was it? Where it was in Columbus, somewhere. And I went with him to help set up his booth and all that, and work the booth with him. And then I'd walk around and talk to other booths and look what people did, like visually, and just get some ideas. Then there was this woman out in front. She was out in the front lobby, and she had a really awesome display. And she was selling bracelets too. And there was like I think there were whisper beads or whisper prayer beads.
Okay.
She was talking to me, and we're like, I love these kind of bracelets. They're more beads. Ours are wooden beads, right, like kind of stone, all that. And they looked really cool. And we're like, hey, she was just starting a men's line, and she was selling them. And I was with my buddy, and I was like, hey, these are so cool. And then we started talking to them, and she's like, yeah, we started in one city, and now we're in like 40 states.
Wow.
And she's just wonderful. And they're Christian faith-based. And I'm like, this is just awesome. Like, people can do this. And there's nothing like, proprietary about it. Nothing like, I don't own patents on these. Like, anyone can do this. You just get off the button, do it. Right.
Yeah.
So I was like, I mean, everyone talks about doing something, and I'm like, let's just do it. Like, we found some suppliers for our wood and the material and all that. And then we just started owning it, and starting off small, keep costs low. And then we make a little bit of money. Like, we can pay for some flyers and some things like that. And so it all started like just going to another show, and seeing those bracelets. I'm like, and there weren't many bracelet vendors. I was like, so you can go to shows and do this, like, or not to go to shows and make a website and mouth and just be personable. And I mean, it's a great cause too, and people love giving, and especially if they know where it's going. It's like,
absolutely.
And I know where it's going. Like, I've been to these places. I'm not going to give blindly. I'm not going to give somewhere that I haven't been to.
I think that builds the credibility and trust within your brand, especially because, like, you legitimately have pictures of you in these places.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's not, oh, I think I'm buying this t-shirt. It's supposed to be going 50% here, but even the founders aren't really sure where here is, right? Yeah. It's really neat that, you've directly seen those people that you're going to be affecting there and impacting positively. I mean, I think that's really cool, and something that I hope our listeners really, latch onto, because, for myself, I'm really trying to focus on first of all, I'm focusing on not spending that much anymore. I need to cut back, or I've been cutting back, from frivolous things. But when I do buy things or buy fashion or just things that I like, I want it to go and give back. I want it to support something, because otherwise it's just, it's way more fun to support that and know that your dollars are going somewhere that's helping somebody than just like buy from, the mall.
Yeah.
So that's really cool. What would you say would be a piece of advice you'd give to people? And I know you're new in the venture, but to people who might be thinking that they have some sort of gift or idea or talent that could intertwine with their beliefs and their faith and give God glory, like what would be a piece of advice that you might give to them when they're kind of contemplating it and not really sure about it yet, or sure if they're discerning the right calling?
Yeah. I think first, before you do anything, just pray about it. And then when you pray about it some more. And then maybe one more time. And then there's like, until you get like maybe a clear answer. And then sometimes you're like, I've prayed for, maybe months, and maybe you're like, nothing. It's not even like here or there. It's like, well, then you know what? You just go and try it. You just go and do it. And you'll get an answer really quick if it's in your face, or you're like, or it just, you do really well right away. Like, and I don't want anyone to like, even if you fall on your face, people do all the time. Don't stop. Like, if you really think and you're glorifying God, he's going to let great stuff happen. Even if it's just meeting people. Like, I didn't expect to sell anything at the coffee shop. I met a bunch of awesome people. Other believers came in, and God brought them, and we talked, and then now we have friendship. Like, I would have taken that even over selling anything.
Heck yeah, that's awesome.
So just stuff like that. I'd say just go for it. I mean, do your research on it. Look at your competitors, your big competitors, your small competitors, pricing, all that, and just try it out. Go to craft shows. Like, you don't have anything to lose, so you don't sell anything. You have a free access to social media, which is awesome. People back 10, 20 years ago didn't have that. I mean, we have all this at our disposal. I mean, you see YouTube people becoming famous because they just have views. Like, we can do anything now. We have because of this technology. You can do anything you want. You can do global marketing. You can do global logistics. All that. You can talk to people overseas. You can sell overseas. Like, just go for it. Pray about it. Do your research and go for it. Save up a little bit if you need to save up for material and stuff. If you're making handcraft or you're buying from a supplier, just go and do it. And you'll have people behind you, and some people won't be behind you, but that's okay.
Yeah. You
don't have to have everyone behind you before you start marching. All right. Like,
amen. Amen. It's so true. And I love that you brought up, all those benefits. A lot of times I think people see things as black and white. Like, I'm either going to succeed in this or I'm going to fail in it. And I've really been opening my eyes lately to the fact that what is failure even? Whose decision is like failure?
Defining your failure. Like,
it's just like, it's almost made up, it's like an expectation. Whose expectation? My expectation? I think I failed because I didn't hit this goal or that sales amount. I mean, it's all relative, right? And so, if you can just go out and try something, like you said, you're going to meet new people, you're going to get access to new things, new ideas, and maybe, a couple doors shut and 7 more open, right? So that's really cool. The last question I actually would love to ask you, and then we'll kind of wrap it up, is do you have, and this is aside from, it could be intertwined with your business, but do you have a favorite verse or a favorite thought you'd love to leave our listeners with that inspires you or motivates you or, helps you really connect to God, or whatever you want to really say as your last inspiring thought?
Yeah, one of my favorite verses, I really am drawn to David, but unfortunately he actually didn't write. It was Asaph, or someone wrote that in Psalm. It's Psalm 84:11, and it's, no good thing does God withhold from those who walk uprightly. And it's just a verse on walking in obedience. Jesus said, if you love me, you'll obey me. And so just walk in obedience, in prayer, in reading, and in fellowship. And God's just going to change your life. You're going to flip it upside down. And sometimes we don't like to flip upside down, but you will later on. You really will. You're going to love it. You're going to be like, this is the best thing. And you're going to say, Father, this is the best thing that could have happened to me. And so just keep walking in obedience. Keep walking uprightly when the world is crazy right now. U.S. is crazy. No matter what your politics is, no matter what your belief in that is, it is wild, and people are not tolerant. They say they're tolerant of things, and they're not. So I mean, being a Christian, it's even harder now. It's getting harder and harder to speak your mind without being called a bigot or outdated or all these things. But you know what? Just be faithful, and God's going to provide. You're gonna, in the Bible it says like if you're a Christian, like you're gonna suffer a little bit. You're gonna suffer, and people will know that you're a Christian by your suffering. Like you're truly living for Him. You're going to go through some stuff. Like the world's going the other way, remember? Like the world's teaching us another thing. So just obey, and God is going to bring you through it. Like He brought you to it. He's going to bring you through it. Like, so just obey and trust. So that's just what I'd like to leave with everybody before I go.
I love it. I love it. Well, thank you so much for being on our interview series today. I know the listeners are going to love it. And for those of you guys who are watching, all the information about Ascendwood and how to connect with Justin and make sure that you get your bracelets are going to be in the blog below the video. So make sure that you go check out the site, check out his stuff, and it's going to a great cause, as well as looking really awesome with your outfit. So be sure that you guys grab those. And again, thank you, Justin.
You're welcome.
All right. Bye, guys. Until next time.